All right, expect the unexpected. This is Dennis Isip,
I'm D. Cloyd.
and we're here to talk about Fair 2020. This year, there's a lot of changes, but at the same time, there's also not a lot of changes.
Good changes.
So I guess we're going to begin by saying that this year it's going to be a virtual fair. There's not going to be any physical visits to the fairgrounds. Because we've been doing this digitally for the past couple of years, this is a good way to be part of that, this year's fair festivities. So by virtual, all the entries will be displayed online. There will be no physical prints. So everybody's entries will be exhibited to the world. In the past years, we've had our open division. So that's not going to change. That's the one that we're going to maintain. And let's see,
Just so that you know, the theme of the fair, they change the theme every year, is exactly what Dennis said, expect the unexpected. And boy, do we have some unexpected things. Wait till you hear. So let's go over the open division. Some of these are exactly the same as they've been in year 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then we've got a couple of surprises. I'll go over a couple and then you can wrap it up. Wildlife animals, that's been a big one for years. We carried over one that was really big last year, cell phone. And what happened last year?
Actually, the winner of the cell phone category ended up being the Grand Champion.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah.
Very killer image. By the way, if you want to see it, go to the website. If I'm not mistaken, it's right down there. It's the first one that comes up. We've also got architecture. We've had that one year after year. Creative, we brought that in and taken it out a couple of years. That's coming back. Still life. Scenics and landscapes, nature, big one every year. Portraits, also a big one. Travel is coming back. Sports and action.
That's coming back.
That's coming back.
Right.
And we've had a lot of people, hey, what about the sports and action? Because we pulled it away. And then we've got 2 new ones. Dennis?
Well, the first one is we've actually combined flowers and or macro. It used to be there were separate categories, but now we're going to combine them. Flowers would be flowers as usual, but the macro, we're going to be strict this time. True macro photography is 1-to-1 ratio. I would advise that you look that up for the definition because we're going to be very strict this year.
Google it.
Yeah.
And go to some friends of yours that have been shooting a while. Make sure it's 1-to-1. We literally will disqualify images even if they're close up, but not macro. They literally have to be macro this year. So please look that up. And if you need help, for God's sakes, I think there's a number on the website for coming right into here into our studio. There's emails. You feel free to come by. We'd be glad to go over that with you so that you understand it completely. We would much rather have that than people pay for them, turn them in, and then they be disqualified. We don't want that. We want to do everything possible to alleviate that.
Okay, so again, just to be clear, if the subject is not a flower, it has to be a macro. But if it is a flower, it does not have to be macro.
But you could take a macro picture of a flower.
Correct.
Okay.
You could do that.
Okay.
So again, if there's any confusion, just give us a call.
Now the last one, some of you know who've entered for years, that the actual fair board picks the color that we do every year. We don't have any control over that. And I think the justification is they try to get the color to match their big event or their theme, etc. When we had the pirate theme, it was the color red. I'm assuming that's because of something to do with blood.
Yeah.
They try to match it as much as possible. This year's color is
Lime green.
Lime green. Is this what we want? No. This is not what we want. Okay, there's people out there saying, but Deke, you're holding up a lime. That's got to be lime green. Yes, but that's not what we're looking for. What we're actually looking for is this. Lime green. Some people call it fluorescent green. I've had some motorcycle guys call it Kawasaki green. So just to be clear, we're not looking for this lime green. We're looking for this lime green. Just so you know.
Okay, so those are 12 categories. And
Yep.
again, for more details, you can look it up here on our website.
Now, we've got a surprise.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 of them.
Yeah, so these are the things that have been totally new for this year. So in addition to the open division, which we just discussed, there are 2 divisions that we're introducing. One for the youth, which is for 17 and under, and the other division
The little
is
ones.
yeah, the little ones, which I guess you've been judging that in the past years.
I have.
And these are, I guess, photo prints that they've been submitting.
They do. They turn in prints. They're usually fairly small. A lot of them. You're going to be surprised at how good some of these are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
There are going to be some of us on the inside, behind the scenes, and some of the judges that, unless we literally separate them, they're gonna go, are we sure this is youth? Some of these are pretty good. And by the way, in the future, there's no rules that says that someone that is 17 or under can't enter into the open.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, because of our the digital setup that we've already had in the past couple of years, because the youth division wasn't really part of our department.
No.
So this year we're accommodating them. They're going to be part of our department.
They're in our building.
Yeah.
But we kind of share space. But now we're going to, at least for this year, we're going to take them under our wing.
Yeah. So that's going to be a separate division. Again, 17 and under, but that doesn't mean that the 17 and under kids cannot submit to the open division if they want to do that.
They can do it if they wish. Now, we tried to be as comprehensive as possible because they had a ton of different, what did they call that? Different categories. We narrowed it down to 2, but we broadened those 2 to encompass as many possible categories as possible. One is people and critters. What's a critter?
Well, I guess whatever the kids would like to define as a critter.
A critter could be a dog.
Could be a dog.
Could be a grasshopper.
Yeah.
Could be a bird. Anything that they perceive as a critter, and we kind of want them alive. So no Legos, no stuffed animals. They need to literally be a critter. So that means people. That doesn't mean people and critters. They don't have to be in the same scene. It's people and or critters, or you could put them together. It doesn't matter. What's the second one?
The second one is landscapes and architecture. So that could be buildings, that could be forests, and anything in between. So in other words, I guess non-living? Well,
non-living.
Not necessarily. I guess forest could be living.
Well, I guess technically that's true.
Yeah.
But we don't want to see, we want it to be a true landscape or a true architecture, a building, a scene out in the woods with a little log cabin in the background. That's what we want to see.
Yeah.
Now, what do they got to do this?
Well, this year there's going to be an entry fee. So, but it's going to be the same entry fees as the open division. So it's going to be $5 for every entry, and if you do submit a total of 5 entries and pay for $25 total, you get an additional bonus of 2 more free entries. Yeah.
Total of
7. Yeah.
Can I count?
So that's been going on in the past in the open division, and we're going to do the same fee structure in the youth division. And by so doing, what would be the incentive for the youth to start paying for their entries? Because in the past it's been free.
Correct.
And what's that incentive?
Not much.
Not much.
But what we're doing is we're talk about the pooling.
Okay.
Okay. The huge incentive by doing this, especially this year, we're pooling the money. So there is a possibility, depending upon the number of entries, that this could go well above what it's been in previous years.
Right. So if we've got a lot of entries, and I guess let's explain first that during the past 5 years, we've always paid out $100 for the first place, and then $50 for second, $25 for third, and then potentially, if there's an honorable mention, then that will be a $10 prize. So that's been consistent for the past 5 years. So this year, because of we don't know how many entries we're going to get, could be a lot, it could be less.
We think it's going to be more because there's no expense put into printing. So the odds are very much in your favor. We think we're going to get a lot of entries.
All right. I remember during our first year, we required everybody to submit prints. And then there was a suggestion, from you to, well, what if we just submitted prints only for the finalists? So that's what we did.
We try to put ourselves in your position and save money wherever we can.
So hopefully this year there's going to be minimal expense in order to participate. And so therefore, we're hoping that there's going to be a lot more that will be participating. So finally, the other thing is we've got another division, which is totally new this year. It's never been done in the fair before. So, and that will be
The professional division.
professional division.
Here's where this came about. Every year, we have either true professionals or people that are aspiring to be a professional. Hey, I've been to this other fair in St. Louis, in Milwaukee, in Minneapolis, in Albuquerque, and they've got a professional division. How come we don't? We have literally talked about this time and time again. Part of this, not necessarily hesitation, but part of the holdback had to do with space on the wall. So now that we are pretty sure that we can secure that, this is a perfect year to bring this about because we don't have to fill the wall currently. This would be a very good opportunity for professionals. Please explain what a professional is in photography.
In our open division, we've not allowed professionals. And our definition is anybody who's making at least 50% of their annual income from photography or videography. So they were not allowed technically in the open division.
We didn't think that was fair.
Right. So this year they will have a separate division for themselves.
And that is people that make more than 50% of their income from photography. How much will that cost?
Well, the cost is going to be $10. And in addition to that, there's going to be before we talk about that, let's talk about the category.
Okay.
So there's only going to be one category for the professionals, and that is
Weddings.
weddings.
That may change in years to come. We may add to it. There may be 2 or 3, or we may just change it to another category. But we figured with all the wedding photographers we've got in our area, as well as beyond, anybody can enter in our fair. It doesn't matter where they are on the earth. I don't know if everybody knows that. By the way, the grand prize winner last year wasn't even in Spokane.
Right.
Where were they?
I believe North Carolina or somewhere in the East Coast.
And how old were they?
He was a senior in high school.
How about that?
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, take a look at it. It's awesome. Again, it's right down there.
Yeah.
So we think that there's a couple of reasons that the professionals, especially here in town, who are going to be seeing this and spreading it around to all their professional friends, this could be a real biggie for them. And the most important thing, over and above the prize money, which is also pooled, by the way, will be the bragging rights.
Right. You know, one of the things that we wanted to emphasize is that, well, it's $10, as we've mentioned, for every entry, but there's going to be a minimum number and a maximum number. And the reason why we wanted that is we wanted to be judged based on the body of work that they've done in weddings.
Correct.
So the minimum number is 5 entries, which is, $10 times 5, that's at least $50. And the maximum would be 15. So
that will give us a really good idea of seeing what their body of work is about. By the way, that does not necessarily mean that all 5 to 15 of them have to come from one wedding. Not at all.
Could be. Well, we actually encourage multiple
Let's
weddings.
see their body of work. Let's see what kind of photography you do. And to be honest with you, that should be and is probably the reason why a bride-to-be and their mom or her parents are going to pick you, is because of your body of work. So imagine the bragging rights when you're sitting down with a bride coming up and you're showing them everything you do, showing them your albums and showing them some photos you've done from a recent wedding and what you do that none of the rest of the wedding photographers do. And you're able to go, oh, and by the way, I took first place at the Spokane Interstate Fair in the wedding division. Boy, that would be a biggie.
Yeah. Considering that in the past years, we've always had typically physical visitations at the fairgrounds from as much as 100, sometimes even 200,000 people that come to the fair. Now, imagine this year, well, they can't come physically to the fair. What will they do instead? Well, they're going to look online.
Of course.
So they're going to be able to see your work. All the submissions will be displayed. So if you're going to spend $50 as a professional photographer, that is dirt cheap advertising.
Think $50, which is times 10 times 5 is $50. Man, oh man, that is a really good money spent for advertising. There's no question there. You couldn't find anything. You couldn't find the Inlander. You couldn't find any other form of advertising that would give you this least amount of risk for the highest outcome. Period.
Yeah. And the fair themselves, the fair administration, they're going to be promoting
the
website.
Because we don't have people on the fairgrounds, they're going to be promoting this like crazy. I know Dennis is in charge of that, are going to be promoting it all over Facebook and social media. I heavily encourage every photographer out there, professional photographer especially in this case, you better call everybody you know and get them in on this. Why? The bigger the pool, the more the payout. Boy, talk about bragging rights. I wish I wasn't disqualified in doing this, because I would get on this in a second.
Yeah. So yeah. But we'll also be giving cash prizes to the professional division.
Yep.
But like I said, that's probably nothing compared to the exposure that you're going to get. All right.
True.
And even if you don't win the top prize, a bride may or may not like the style of the top prize winner, and instead they might like
and they may say yours and go, I can't believe that this one didn't win. We get that all the time.
Right.
You have no idea how many people either come up to the exhibit, to the booth, or call us or email in, or they leave a message on the phone saying, I can't believe that one took grand champion. How come this one didn't win? So that is very true.
Yeah. So that's going to be again, this is going to be the professional division is going to be a significant change this year. Right. Okay.
So big changes. I think they're all positive changes. Heck, you don't even need to do any printing this year. The cost is way, way, way down.
Right. Okay, so to summarize, we've got the open division that is, it's going to be as usual, other than there won't be any prints that will be submitted.
Virtually the same.
Virtually the same. That's true. And then we've got two additional divisions, one for the youth and one for the professional. So if you've got any questions...
Don't forget, no lime green, lime green.
So our number is below, or email us, whatever. And for now, over and out.
Have a good one.